Gentleman from Illinois, Mr. Quigley, is recognized for the purposes of an amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have an amendment to desk. I ask the reading be dispensed with.
Without objection, the reading of the amendment is dispensed with, and the gentleman is recognized for remarks on his amendment.
Mr. Chairman, I do want to recognize Chairman Womack's remarks, and as co-chair of the SNARC caucus, I do appreciate what he had to say. But this amendment would restore funding for the pro-housing, also known as Pathways to Removing Obstacles program. I'm offering this amendment because we all know the cost of housing is too high. It's the American dream, but for too many of our constituents, the dream's out of reach. In the 1980s, the typical first-time home buyer was in their late 20s. Today, the median age for first-time buyers is 38 and rising. In my home city of Chicago, the median home price is now $350,000. That requires an income of roughly $90,000 a year, and the median income is $75,000. Make no mistake, high mortgages and rents increase homelessness too. But as the cost of housing goes up, fewer people can afford their rent, landing them on the street and further relying on government help. But why are housing prices so high? It's simple. The most important reason is we're not building enough housing. We are facing a housing shortage of approximately 5 million units, according to Brookings. There are a lot of reasons we've stopped building housing. One of them is, as my colleagues on both sides agree on, is red tape. The National Association of Home Builders estimates regulations account for almost 24% of the average sale price of a single-family home. For multifamily housing, it's 40%. The federal government cannot and should not tell state and local governments what to do, but local elected officials from all over the country in blue and red states has said that housing costs and the need to build are the number one challenge, and that federal funds offered as incentives to remove some of the regulations stopping housing construction are needed. This is exactly what the pro-housing program has been doing and can continue to do if we support it. It's a small pot of money, relatively, $100 million. It has provided grants to dozens of local governments to change their zoning and regulations to allow for construction more housing. Just some of those locations: San Francisco, Austin, Cincinnati, Detroit, Norman, Oklahoma, Oakland, Portland, Oregon, St. Louis, Toledo, Tucson, Sacramento, Long Beach, Kentucky, Maryland, Minnesota, and Montana. The inability to build housing is no longer only a problem for blue cities. We are facing a housing crisis across the country, and we need every tool in the toolbox to fix it. This is a modest program that leverages a small pot of funds to generate outsized housing productions. I want to close by asking three things of my colleagues. Vote for this amendment, work with me to find a pay-for this critical program, and work with me and our Senate colleagues on a package of improvements to the program. I am working with Senator Schatz, who is looking for a Republican partner on ways to strengthen this program. We're interested in ensuring resources spark not just regulatory changes, but actual new housing starts. Outcome, not just inputs. With that, I encourage my colleagues to vote for this amendment. I am not going to ask for a recorded vote, but encourage your support.
I thank the gentleman. Gentleman from Arkansas, Mr. Womack, is recognized to respond to the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And for a minute, I thought he was going to offer and withdraw, but no such luck. But it's good that you're not going to ask for a recorded vote. First and foremost, as I've said many times, our challenge here is it exceeds our allocation, and if adopted, would prevent us from being able to go to the floor. As my good friend knows, we have not funded the FY24 or 25 this program and the FY24 or 25 House bills. It's a creation, really, of the Senate THUD committee and something we accepted in conference and was a fact of life inclusion in the FY25 full-year CR. So that's a consequence of CRs rather than what I consider to be good faith negotiations. So I agree with the intent of the program. It's nice to have. When compared to the rental assistance and supportive set-asides we necessarily fund in the bill. I don't want to sound like a broken record. We have a tight allocation, but I maintain that this bill takes the right approach in funding the safety and essential HUD services necessary to care for our nation's most vulnerable. It trims the fat at HUD, and to bust our allocation for this increase would be irresponsible. I urge a no vote. I yield.
Thank the gentleman. Are there other members wishing to address the amendment? The gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
I was going to bring this up earlier when Watchman Schultz, but she was closing, so I didn't have the opportunity to do it. So it's on. Maybe I just need to speak up. As I said, Mr. Chairman, I was going to bring this up before because I think it's relevant to the entire committee. And the chairman of the subcommittee just said we have limited allegations. I made that comment when I spoke about the amendment I offered. I get that. But what I think is important to bring up, which does not relate directly to the gentleman's amendment, but it relates to every amendment, and it relates to our committee. Mr. Levin mentioned it a little earlier. Either yesterday or it's reported today. Something that all of you ought to be very concerned about. All of us ought to be concerned about. It is about Mr. Vogt, who believes he is the first and final arbiter of how much is spent. And all of us ought to be concerned about that. I will tell you, if it was Shalonda Young had said this, I would be saying the same thing. First of all, I'm going to quote him, there is no voter in the country that went to the polls and said, quote, I'm voting for bipartisan appropriation process. That's, quote, vote. He'd be very happy about this committee at this point in time because, unfortunately, we aren't very bipartisan. Vogt then went on to say, that may be the view of something that appropriators want to maintain. He didn't say Democratic appropriators. He said appropriators would want to maintain. The story goes on. He did, however, acknowledge the federal spending power lies with Congress. He said, a quote, again, a vote, it is one of the most constitutional foundational principles, but that power of the purse does not mean, and dash, he interposed, it is a ceiling, it is not a floor. In other words, what he is saying is, send me a 302A and I'll damn well decide how to spend it. Now, if that's what this committee is, and we don't oppose that as a committee, then I just as soon resign. Vogt reiterated his view that the president, that of Donald Trump, that the 51-year-old Impoundment Control Act, which bars the president from withholding congressionally approved funds without asking Congress, is unconstitutional. Vogt believes that it is his decision, obviously the president's decision, to decide exactly what we're going to spend. And if we appropriate $100 for an item that we think is very important, and he wants to spend $10 on it, he believes that constitutionally is correct. If we believe that, again, I don't want to be on this committee. The Constitution clearly says we raise and we spend. And I don't want to be told, Mr. Hoyer, I know this project was very important to you. You appropriated $100 in your bill. The Senate voted for $100. The president signed $100. But guess what? We're only going to spend $10. Now, I think we ought to be more bipartisan, but certainly in terms of the integrity of this committee, we ought to be very bipartisan on saying to Mr. Vogt, if we say you spend $100, you spend it. Now, we've made a provision, Mr. Vogt, and we're probably going to pass it, that you can come back and say, no, we think we only spend 80. And if we approve that, you can do that. But if he thinks it's a unilateral power, because he thinks the impoundment resolution is not constitutional. So I think, Mr. Chairman, we need to deal with that as a committee. As I say, he just said this, which is why I'm bringing it up today. But if we have any sense of integrity of this committee, the Constitution, and the Congress of the United States, we want to make it very clear to Mr. Vogt that we don't agree with that view. Maybe, Mr. Chairman, I'll talk to you, and maybe we can offer a resolution to that effect from this committee. And I would hope it would be bipartisan. Because if it's not, then we're just like the Budget Committee giving the administration a 302A, and you decide how you're going to spend it. I support the gentleman's amendment.
Good job.
Is there further debate on the amendment? If not, the gentleman's recognized for 1 minute to close.
Apparently, no one voted for vote. I encourage you to support this amendment.
Questions now on the amendment offered by the gentleman from Illinois. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The opinion of the chair, the noes have it. And the amendment is not agreed to.